Welcome back to this Yahoo Finance special Crypto in 2023, brought to you by Intuit TurboTax. Well, tax season is upon us and returns are due at the IRS by April 18th. And there are lots of new things to watch for this year, especially for crypto investors. Joining us now is Swan Bitcoin Managing Director Terrence Young. Thank you for being here. So, Terrence, obviously over the past year, we've seen a lot of losses. We've seen some exchanges collapse as well. What do people need to be aware of considering the rule changes as they file for 2023?
Sure. So basically, before the 2023 tax deadline, right, your goal should be to pay the correct amount of taxes to avoid penalties, take advantage of tax benefits, and reduce your audit risk, given that crypto does have a target on its back, as you said, Rochelle, with the regulatory action. So I would do a couple of things. I would make sure you collect documentation on sales and in crypto investments that went to zero, as many of them did last year when the bubble burst. And I would also download the tax CSV file that you have from places where you purchased your Bitcoin or crypto, and use tax software. Could be TurboTax, could be Bitcoin and crypto tax software such as Zenledger. And then lastly, I would hire an accountant, give them plenty of time to do your taxes, give them good documentation so they do a better job, and think of tax deductions and credits you may qualify for.
Is the IRS's understanding of crypto a moving target here, Terrence, given the fact that there's so many changes year over year, and even the type of ownership that people decide to have in their relationship with crypto?
It certainly looks like it, but us Bitcoiners, of which I am one, we've been warning people for years about how crypto outside of Bitcoin are mostly securities, if not all securities. So for the IRS and other regulators to go after crypto and consider them securities is not a surprise. We hate to say we told you so, but this is something that anybody who has a legal background like I do, or talked to their friends who are securities lawyers or just went to law school and took a securities law class, this was pretty obvious.
So, Terrence, in terms of the mistakes that you tend to see people make when it comes to filing their taxes in regards to crypto,
Sure.
What tends to be the ones that stand out to you?
Sure. So a big one is not taking advantage of tax loss harvesting, where you can make lemonade out of lemons. So 2022, a lot of us saw mark-to-market unrealized losses in our Bitcoin and crypto exposure because many of us bought during the bull market, during the hype in 2021. So what you want to do, ideally, is sell and rebuy your Bitcoin. And in the past, they would have said crypto, but given that the SEC and the IRS are taking a new look, a more aggressive look at crypto and considering them securities, you actually can't rebuy crypto immediately because you would violate the SEC 30-day wash sale rule. Bitcoin is still property under the IRS rules and should continue to be that way. But regardless, if you have losses in Bitcoin, you could sell immediately, rebuy, and lock in that tax benefit by crystallizing and realizing your capital loss.
Terrence, what about for small businesses that may be holding some Bitcoin on the balance sheet? I mean, we talk about publicly traded companies who have some form of crypto. They're holding that as an asset or as an investment. But what about for some of the smaller businesses that might also be hodling, if you will?
I mean, this is not advice, but if I were them, I would continue to hodl or hold their Bitcoin, because long term, if you can afford as a small business to keep your Bitcoin there and not sell it for 5 years or longer, it should do quite well. The longer you can hold it, the more likely it is that this bearer asset that has a credible finite supply will be very valuable in the future. Short term, who knows? As Warren Buffett would say, in the short term, the markets are a voting machine. In the long run, it's a weighing machine. And the weight of Bitcoin's fundamentals are very strong. Crypto, I'm not so sure. I would not hold crypto at all. I would get rid of that.
All right, Swan Bitcoin Managing Director Terrence Young, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Welcome.
Absolutely. Coming
Thanks
up.
for having me.
Yes, certainly.